Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Today I actually have one of my favorite videos I've ever made. And this is Canary. If you guys have never heard of Canary, I recommend you check them out, but we're going to talk all about them. So the first thing I want to point out is this is not technically a sponsored video. So they did send me the products, but they have no monetization. They haven't paid me anything. They haven't given me anything. And the reason I point that out is because this is going to be my review. But I do love their products, so I do want to point out that they didn't pay me to say this. I'm not saying it because they asked me to. I actually reached out to them because I love their product and I want to complete this review and also show people some things that people don't even realize are out there. So this is really cool. So this is one of the hardware Canaries. I know you guys can see that. I know there's a green screen on, but I will walk you through. I'm going to do this piece of the video. And then I'm going to walk you through how they work, and then I'm going to actually kind of explain what they are, and then we're going to walk through using them. So what is it? This is a honeypot. Now, most people have heard of Canary tokens. Most of you that have been in the industry for a while have probably used Canary tokens to do all kinds of things. You can get alerts when someone opens, your website. You can get alerts when somebody opens an email, etc., etc. There's a million things, but the reality is that Canary has become much more than that, and even I didn't realize this until I reached out to them because I was actually looking at their Canary tokens and was going to do a video on it, and I thought, well, I'll reach out and see if there's anything they also do that I don't know about, and see if they want to collaborate on this video. And luckily they did. So this was the box they sent me. Pretty small box, really. I don't know how I'm going to get it to load, there you go. And I'm going to open it up. This is the first time I have opened it, but I haven't taken anything out of it. So this is a hardware honeypot is what this is. So for those of you that don't know what honeypot is just a target-rich environment. So it's a server, a router, whatever, that you're intentionally leaving open. So that way when an attacker tries to attack it, they're going to either succeed or you're going to be alerted on it. So it's a way to make something look enticing, and then an attacker goes for it, and as soon as they do, you know that somebody is in your environment that shouldn't be and is doing stuff they shouldn't be. So this is the box. This is actually, that's how big it is. I mean, that's my hand. It's no bigger than the palm of my hand. So that's actually really cool. This is the honeypot. All it is USB plug in, and then here's a block. So plug it in and hook it straight into your hardware. That's cool. I like that. So that's really small. So, oh, that's cool. They give me, I'm not going to show it here, but they give me the name of it and the MAC address right here that I can keep, or it's a sticker so I can put it on there. So that's actually really cool. I like that. And then it looks like there's a little stand you can have as well. So these go on it, and there's a stand. So I'm doing the unboxing here with you guys. And then, okay, it looks like they actually gave me a little Canary sticker also, which is cool. I'll probably put that on something. I'm not a huge sticker guy. I know like a lot of people, they go in their bags and there's a bunch of stickers. I'm just not a huge sticker guy. But this is actually really nice. This shows you what the stand is for. It's actually so you can stack canaries on top of each other. I like that. That's actually really cool and forward thinking, in my opinion, because there's going to be a lot of people that do that just want to stack them up and have them sitting there and not have to actually, figure out what they're going to do. But you just put these in and you can stack them on top of each other. So that's pretty cool. Really cool. Easy form fitting. I like it. I'm going to put some of the stuff back in here. But let's go ahead and go over to what a Canary actually is. So let's talk about this for a second. So what actually is a Canary, right? So again, most of you probably know Canary tokens, but they aren't familiar with the honeypots, which are kind of the bread and butter now, which surprised me. And what I mean by the bread and butter is they're actually kind of more impressive than the Canary tokens, which is pretty impressive. So this is how Canaries work. So let's click on this here, and we'll go ahead and wait for it to load. And while it's loading, we'll talk about it. But what it's doing is it's using DNS exfiltration methods to actually communicate, which is really cool because it makes it very difficult for an attacker to assume it's a honeypot just for no reason, right? And funny enough, I did a challenge in the Discord for anybody that could, because I have, we'll go over here and look, I have one honeypot running right now, and that's in AWS. It's a virtual honeypot, and I had it running in AWS, and basically what I did is I had it run, and I gave, I think, 2 weeks. I gave everyone in the Discord, and there's a couple thousand people in there, a chance to try and scan it, figure it out, whatever, and see if they could give me an indicator that it's a honeypot, meaning something that an attacker could do to figure out it's a honeypot without alerting me. No one could do it. Now, I understand some people might say there is possible ways, and we even talked about it in my live stream that it's possible, but it's very unlikely. It's almost impossible, which is really cool. So this is how it communicates, right? So here's your Canary. Here is someone trying to connect to it. And as soon as it does that, it actually uses DNS exfiltration. So you'll see it encrypts the data, the alert. It encrypts it and sends it to Canary's DNS servers, right? So it goes through your internal DNS, goes out to the DNS servers, and eventually gets to the Canary DNS server and sends that alert to you that then looks like this and says, hey, 2 seconds ago, someone tried to connect. That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, before you guys tune out and say, okay, yeah, this is great, just wait till you see the capabilities of this thing, because it is actually really freaking cool. It's not the fact that it's just a honeypot. That's cool in itself. It's the fact that you'll see what I mean. It's the fact that you can change it so easily. So I'm not going to dive too deep in the documentation, because you guys can read this. This description will be in, or this will be in the description if you want to read more about them. But this is the Canary console. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mass acknowledge all these. These are all ones from my AWS one. So I'm going to mass acknowledge all these. There's 48 pages since I've had it up and running a couple weeks. And yes, I know it's publicly exposed. So there's mass alerts that were on there, and that's from a public one. I wouldn't recommend putting a honeypot out publicly, because you're just going to get alerts. But what we're going to do is we're going to actually plug this one in, and then we're going to talk about how quick it comes up and also what we can do with it and all that. So let's go ahead, and you guys stay put. I'm going to go plug this in so that you guys can see what it looks like when it pops up and the different configurations we can make. Okay, welcome back. So I'm not going to lie to you. I plugged it in and I walked around, and almost before I sat down, it was already up. So that's really fast. It's completely done. That is complete setup. Now, you can see that's the name they gave it. Okay, so what's cool about this is watch how fast I can set this up. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. So right now, let's go to configuration here, to settings, and you'll see this dashboard is so easy that it's kind of deceiving. That's one of my criticisms to them, is that I think they should make their dashboard a little bit more flashy. And the reason I say it's a criticism is because it almost makes you feel like they don't have the capabilities that they actually do, and that's what they're going for. They're going for simple, right? But it's actually almost so simple that you feel like it's kind of too simple. It almost feels like, I don't know, just I think that they should be proud of what they've done, is what I'm saying, and kind of make it a little more flashy. But so let's change the name, because someone's gonna go on there and be like, new Windows device. That seems odd that someone would expose that, right? So we'll name it Stuffy24. That's the name we're gonna name it. Location, okay, we don't need to put a location. New bird shipping to customer, that's fine. We could change that if we wanted to. So here's where it comes in. That's awesome. Pick a personality. So look at this. These are all personalities, is what they call them, but they're just operating systems. Okay, now when I say they're just operating systems, you'll see what I mean. They're operating systems that are fully configured to do what you want. So let's go ahead and look through. Let's see if there's one that we really like or anything like that. So SCADA systems, vendors, networking, Apple, Linux, Windows, we have everything. So let's just go straight to something that's pretty cool to see. Okay, So one of the first things we're going to do is I'm just going to do a Windows 2016 file share. The reason is this would be something realistic that you'd see in an environment, because Windows 20 servers 2016 still is being it's still being recognized, it's still being updated, it is being supported. So it's not uncommon that that would happen. Now you notice that the MAC address didn't update. So we need to go to Windows. Okay. So we need to find, it's doing HP, so it's saying it's an HP system. We don't necessarily want it to be HP. We'll do Microsoft. It doesn't really matter which one. We'll just do Microsoft. And the reason is, yep, that's fine. The reason is I don't want it to look too obvious. If you have a Mac that doesn't add up with the actual system, they may notice it. But so that's the only configuration you have to do. Now, you see, we're going to go ahead and turn port scan detection on. I want this on because I want to see when people are scanning it, right? And then we're going to say, okay, here's the file share. Here's where you can get real creative. So the work group office is fine. Doesn't matter what you name it. Stuffy24, system shares. Okay, let's generate industry specific trees. So let's say we're in cybersecurity. We hit cybersecurity. We say, okay, we want to overwrite it. Look at this. Now we have IAM, logs, network architecture, blah, blah. Now watch this. This is what's so cool about it. Let's regenerate it. Look at that. That's so cool. So let's say we want to take it a step further, because what this is this a honeypot that's set up that, long story short, if you had this on your system, if anybody went to this, it would alert you if they tried to access these files, if they tried to log into the server, whatever. And the reason you might say, well, that seems like that would be too many alerts. Well, nobody should ever log into this because they shouldn't even know it exists. The only people that are going to know this exists are people that are scanning your network or inside the network looking for things. So even this can even help you with insider threat, that type of thing, of people that are looking for specific documents. Now, watch this. This is where I really think you can get creative. So you can upload your own if you'd like. You can add multiple shares, whatever you want to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on in here, right in here, and we're going to say new, and look at this, tokened Excel document, a tokened Word document. So many of you are familiar with Canary tokens, right? They track what is going on. So here I would put pen test results 2024. Now, the reason I'm going to put pen test results 2024 is because if I'm a I spelled pen test wrong, I know. If I'm a pen tester or even a hacker and I get into here and I look and I'm like, they have their pen test results just sitting there, I can grab them. That gives me keys to the kingdom. So I would definitely try and click on that. So that's one of the things. Now look at this. You can open this up to whatever. We're going to leave it at default, at the default flavor, right? This is their personality. So we say, and then you can save and custom. So we're going to deploy a new one. Watch this. This is what I find incredible about this. So right away, while that's going on, I'm going to open up VMware and I'm going to start my VM, right? And all I'm going to do is I'm going to start this up so that we can actually scan it. But what's incredible here is watch how long this takes. It takes hardly any time. It's rebooting now, currently, right? It's actually kind of crazy how fast this happens, because what it's doing is it's completely changing. If you scanned it, what it looks like. If you went there and grabbed those files, what would it look like? It's completely changing all of that. So these file servers are out there, but this makes it look totally different, right? So it's, if I wanted to, I could just change it pretty easily. So this is actually insane. And here's the cool thing about this. So look at that. It's already up. Look at this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our operating system over here, and we're going to nmap scan it. So we'll go right here, and we'll just say, hey, nmap 192.168, what did it say it was? .1.9. So we're just doing a quick nmap. We're not even doing anything. Okay, we're going to let this run. The only reason I moved it is so that you can see here. Just changing some of the settings here. All right. And you can see if it ever gets through there. Okay, so we can see that we have two things up. So it does actually seem to be up. And the nice thing is it's actually hosting those two ports. Now, some of you may say, well, okay, cool. Well, now what if we wanted to actually connect to those ports, right? So let's open this up and let's look, right? So ports 139, blah, blah, blah. So what if we just wanted to actually connect to these ports and see if we can connect to them? So 192.168.1.9. Okay, it's going to ask me for a password. You can see I did SMB client. It's asking for a password. Well, I can put whatever I want here. Okay, and it says I don't have enough backslashes in it, which is not surprising. I just have to boop, 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 boop. Put the backslashes in the right spot. And we're going to list them. So we want to list all the shares, right? Okay, and right off the bat, we have documents and IPC. So we have some documents, which if you look, if we go back to the settings here, let's look at them. You can see this description is office share, and then the comments is office documents. Well, look at this, office documents. So right off the bat, it's looking pretty legit, right? If I'm an attacker, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to say, okay, this is kind of cool. So now what we want to do is see, okay, we're getting some pretty good information. Let's see if we can go to the documents, right? And all we're trying to do is make sure that you guys make sure I get enough of the slashes in here. Okay, now it's let's see. Okay, got a timed out status. That's fine. We'll do it this way. What we'll do is we'll go here and we'll just say, okay, let's go to 192.168.1.9, right? Okay, it's asking me for my credentials. We'll put whatever, doesn't really matter. We'll say stuffy, and the password we'll just put admin. And I'll show you why I put admin in there. Okay, look at this. So you can see I went to the network, I went to this file share because that's what you do if you saw this up, right? And you say documents, and look at this. Does this match? Audit logs, case 003. So everything matches. So let's go over here and look at this. We have a login right here. Okay, so we have a login, right? And we say, oh, I just clicked on that, but let's go to the login, right? We have the login and we have exactly what's going on. You can see it's giving me the header, it's giving me everything. And what it's doing, okay, it's just trying to log in. Okay, cool. So now all we have to do is go back. Let's do the pen test results, because if you remember, and you can see if you look, this one, the share file was open. Okay, so we have 2 attempts already. This one, the HTTP login, was for the VM, or the virtual one that's out in the public. That's why you saw that one. This share file was opened by me. That is a totally different one. Look at that. SMB user, stuffy. And then you see, if I must have it masked, but what you can see is I try to type in stuffy. This will tell you right now, or right then, if an attacker has valid credentials. Maybe they're just actually randomly spraying, or maybe they do have valid credentials, right? So first thing we should do is go back to this one and go to settings, and let's see how it says mask sensitive data. So if you mask the sensitive data, it's going to take that out so that you don't see that in your alerts. Why would you want this? Well, if you're a business, you might not want somebody to actually see an alert with username credentials, right? Because what if I'm worried that the password's legit? Now I have your password, now you have to change it, right? So what we're gonna do is if you remember, I did a tokenized document. So let's open up this pen test results, right? I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna open it up. You can view this document, you do not have permission to edit. Okay, cool. And how many of us click enable editing? Pretty much everybody, right? So right off the bat, we're going to say, okay, there, the file was opened by me, okay? We're going to enable editing. And we enabled editing. Okay. But if you look, I don't see anything happening, right? Well, why is this important? Because when they open it back up on their personal computer, right? When the attacker takes it, you're going to get the alert that they opened it. And then you're going to get the alert that they opened it somewhere else, right? This is now a document that as it travels around, every time it's open, I'm going to see where it's going. So if they're putting this information together, if they're sending it off to a backend server, whatever they're doing, I see it. So how cool is that we can do that? Now, that's just how easy this thing is. Let's say we want to change the flavor again, right? Watch how easy this is. And we'll get into the breadcrumbs. I mean, this is such a cool tool. Let's say we want to change it to just a standard Linux server, right? Look, it already sets up SSH, FTP, web server. It's already going to do all this. And this is a web server. So you'll see that we'll be able to actually access this web server simply from the browser and get alerts here. I mean, it is absolutely incredible what this thing can do. And you guys will see it here. So all we got to do is say HTTP 192.168.1.9, and it may not be up yet, so give it a second. We'll wait and see. Settings push in progress, so it's rebooting. This is how fast it can be. And we just wait for it. And once this is up, you'll see this personality will change to a Linux server. That's how fast it is. Now, here's the other best part about these things, man. It's incredible. These things also, there's nothing to bypass. If you stand up a honeypot yourself, right, you're expanding that attack surface because you just stood up a server, and that server now is an attack surface. Someone, if they ever bypass it, they're in your system. There's nothing to bypass here. These aren't the real operating systems. It's emulated, meaning even if you could bypass it, because it is a vulnerable machine, right? Even if you could bypass it, there's nothing to bypass. So you can see now it says Linux 4.4. Let's make sure the IP stayed the same. Okay, it did. And now look at this. Look at that. We have a login page. So right off the bat, it looks like we have a login page, which that's going to be obviously something an attacker's going to target. That's the first thing I'm going to target if I see a login page. So right off the bat, we have a login page. Now let's see what happens if we log into it, right? Here's the other thing. I just in-map scanned it again. Look at this. Now we have HTTP, we have Telnet, we have SSH, we have FTP. We're getting different results on the in-map scan. So an attacker is going to see something different. So right here, let's get rid of this. And let's go to HTTP. Okay, let's do admin, right? Login failed, okay. But look at this. We got a login attempt. Username and password, admin. So right off the bat, we can tell if this is a legit person, meaning they have our credentials, or what's the deal. Now, some of you may say, well, this login page is blank, right? It is, but watch this. You can just go here and look, it says plain HTML login. Watch this. Apache default page. Save that, and boom. Now when we go back to it, whenever it's done setting up the configurations, we have the Apache default page, meaning we don't have to worry about this blank login page looking fake. We can upload our own, right? So the other thing that's so cool about this is look at these Canary tokens. We've talked about Canary tokens. When you have these honeypots in your system, you also get unlimited Canary tokens. Unlimited. That's insane. Look at this. You have a web bug URL that alerts when hit. So if you have a URL out there that's internal and no one should ever touch it, or it's a fake website or a DNS request, right? DNS hostname that alerts when queried. So if you go through, different virtual host lists, if you know that admin.canary.com is someone's gonna look for that when they get inside. If you put this in there, every time someone queries that from your internal DNS, it lets you know. So that's how you know someone's in your network, right? AWS API key. every time someone uses these API credentials, it lets you know. So if you accidentally leak these on your network, meaning they're sitting out there publicly, and I say publicly, I mean in the internal network, but out there for access, you know, anyone accessing them, anybody trying to log into AWS with those credentials is doing something they shouldn't, right? Because why the heck would someone that works there that's legit, that knows these are fake, try and log into someone else's account, right? Microsoft Word documents, exactly what we just did. When you open it up, it lets me know. Sensitive command, registry file to detect sensitive command execution. So you can look for specific commands. Here's the other beauty of this. Any of you admins out there, you can push these with SCCM or any other tool like that. If you don't know what SCCM is, it's a tool that allows you to push different things to every machine on a network. So if you have 10,000 computers, you could put, let's say for instance, all your executives at your company, you put a Microsoft Word document on their desktop and it says quarterly reviews or quarterly performance, whatever, right? They know it's fake. Every executive at the company knows it's fake. But if an attacker gets that machine, that's the first thing they're going to go to. And when they open it, you know someone's on their computer that shouldn't be, right? Think of things like that. Clone websites. Every time someone tries to clone your website, it lets you know. QR codes. You can get, obviously, QR codes. Windows folders. So these are just folders that sit on a computer that you shouldn't be accessing. Custom binaries. If there's a file that you don't want anyone executing. Google Sheets, Gmails, Google Docs, Office 365 Mailbug. This is insane. You can put this in your archived emails, and you can actually then, if someone accesses it, it lets you know. Now, why would you want that? If you know that it's in there, why would you ever open it? If an attacker gets on your machine, they're going to go for your emails. It's something that many attackers do, so they're going to open that. So it's kind of insane, the possibilities here. And look, the thing that blows me away, I just noticed that there's some functionality with the hearts. That's actually cool. I was just saying how they didn't have enough functionality. I think they're listening to me now. But you can see there's so many cool things you can do. We just changed the login page in a matter of, what, 30 seconds? Look at that. Now it's oh, just got another alert. You hear that? I don't know if you guys heard it, but I heard it pop. And look at this. Another alert 18 seconds ago. And the reason it did it again is because I refreshed the page, right? So if I refresh it and you see it says confirm form resubmission, it's because it's automatically resubmitting the admin. But you can see right off the bat, the Apache 2 login, boom. If someone sees this, they're going to think instantly this is a susceptible server. So you can host these honeypots. You can change them on a whim. You can change them to anything. And then lastly, the last piece we're going to get to is the breadcrumbs. So the breadcrumbs, look at this. You can put things onto here that will lead you, if you're an attacker, it will lead you to the honeypot. So how cool is that? This is the only company I know that does this part of it, that's leading you to the server. And again, they're not paying me or anything. I just think they're a really cool product. They've been extremely fun to work with because they've just been like, yeah, let's do this. Like, it was never we don't really know what the point is or anything like that. They just were like, yeah, you just want to tell people about our product, sure. So what you can do is, if you're a net ad or something like that, you probably use Putty all the time, right? Well, if you've ever used Putty, there's profiles in there that will automatically log you into servers. Or not servers, but maybe if you're a certain net ad, but most of the time it's going to log you into like switches, routers, things like that, right? What if you had a profile in there that led you straight to a honeypot? You're never going to use it because you know what it does. But if you have it on there, then every time you open up Putty, if someone gets onto your machine, every time they open up Putty, they're going to see that profile. They're going to be like, what's this server? Click. Now you know someone is using your Putty profile that isn't you. Same thing with SSH. You could have a configuration file. Secure copy profile, Windows FTP shortcut. So this is a shortcut on your file or on your system that allows you to directly file transfer or connect to a file transfer, right? There's all of these different breadcrumbs, and this is actually something they said they're building out right now. So I think it's really cool. I think it's got a lot of potential. But you can see they will lead you to the honeypot. That's actually wild to me, that like you could theoretically have an entire infrastructure built where if anybody is not doing their job, doing it properly, you could be catching everything. That's I don't know if you guys have how long you guys been doing this, but that's wild to me. Because right now, if someone at your company is doing something they shouldn't, or when I say do something they shouldn't, I mean like accessing files they shouldn't be accessing or anything like that, right? You have ways of telling, but you're not going to be alerted on it right away. You'd have to do a little investigation and things like that. But let's say you had someone inside your network that is trying to change their pay or something, which obviously nowadays that's all done on like systems and everything. But let's say you're a small company and everybody's pay is just an Excel spreadsheet. They try to access that file. Well, what if you had a file sitting there, right? And the file said pay stubs or something like that, or pay scales, something like that. And they try to access it, you know right away, oh, Joe Schmo over in, sales is accessing the HR pay stubs file. He should not be doing that, right? You know that. You were alerted on it. Everyone in HR knows not to open that file because they're like, that's not the real file, right? The real files you're not supposed to have access to. You could secure your environment so much more simply by doing this, because if you guys know, on average, attackers are in your network for upwards of 6 months or longer before they actually execute an attack. That's insane. That's a real stat. It's raising every year. That's insane. This allows you to see them in your network earlier. So that is why I think the value here is absolutely off the charts. You can see I'm catching people that aren't even internally right now. There's people accessing my honeypots that are just scanning the internet. If you really wanted to, if you're a web researcher, you could have these honeypots sitting on the internet because you can have AWS, Azure. I'll show you right here. We can actually set up new, and I'm not going to actually add one, but I'm going to show you. You can have virtual machines. They just stand them up. You can have Hyper-V, AWS EC2, Google Cloud, Azure, Tailscale, Docker, hardware. The hardware is the one that I showed you plugged in. Here's the other thing that's wild about this. The EC2, I'll show you the documentation. This is how easy it was. Look at this. This is literally what I did. I logged in. I clicked Add Canary, added the EC2, and I'm not kidding you. You click Launch, and it takes you to log into AWS, and when you log in, it automatically walks you through it. I mean, it's already got everything set up for you. That's how easy it is. It's crazy how easy they make this. That's what blows my mind, is you could have someone with this. This is perfect for every size of industry, every size of company, and that's what I love about it, is because if you're a small company, you can have so much value added here because you don't have to have very much management. If you're a large company, you can have so much value because you have so much management, that this actually will allow you to detect things that normally would get missed in shuffling, right? People get too many permissions and things like that. This stuff can catch anybody doing that stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So this is just a really cool product that I would love to do more videos on. If you guys are interested, let me know. If this video does well, put in the comments like some of the stuff you want to see me do with it. But it is cool. We did a contest, so join the Discord. We will be giving away a couple of swag bags from Canary. That's the only thing they're giving. So when I say that, that's not negative. I'm saying that they offered that. That was not something I asked for. So they are actually super for this video, and I think it shows the capabilities that they have. And this is just touching the surface. I mean, you can get so in depth with these, and I could make a whole series probably about the use cases for this, which I'm happy to do if you guys are interested, and Canary's open to it. But please let me know what you guys think about these, because I've seen some honeypots. I've even have some honeypot videos in my on my channel. I've stood up some honeypots, and I've never seen one with the capabilities and ease of use that these have, along with the ability for the unlimited Canary tokens. Putting all of this together, it's just a totally different way of looking at security. It's being reactive, but in a proactive way, which is kind of an oxymoron. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does in this case. And I think it's a very unique way of doing it, because everybody's heard of honeypots, but nobody's implemented them on a wide scale, ease of use this way, and also used tripwires like the files and the Canary tokens and things like that as additional honeypots. So I think it's absolutely cool. One of my favorite products, and you guys saw how fast that, after I unboxed it, how fast that thing was. So let me know what you guys think. Please hit that comment, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's get this to the moon, because I think this is one of the few companies in the industry that I would ever be sponsored by or supported by, because I truly believe in their product and I think they're great. So let me know what you guys think. And also, if you guys know of a better product, I'm happy to try and review it, but I don't know anyone that's going to beat them on this use case. So thanks guys, and have a great day.